for having me. Good job.
In 2014, the largest ever contingent of African heads of state assembled in Washington, D.C. in a U.S.-Africa summit. It was the first time the United States ever hosted a summit of that magnitude for representatives from Africa. It was acknowledged at the summit that at that time, 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world were African. Although economic growth in the continent has slowed in the past year due to falling commodity prices, Africa still remains the best opportunity for Western and other businesses looking for extraordinary growth. My advice to African American businessmen and women is not to wait, but to instead travel down to Africa and set up shop. Countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, and for that matter, a host of others have a rising service sector, but a constrained manufacturing sector. And so literally everything is imported. These things need to be produced locally. I have always argued that Africa may never be able to rapidly emerge from underdevelopment until it engages the know-how, reach, and connections of the larger African diaspora, of which its biggest component is the African American community. As someone has said, there is some money to be made exporting goods to Africa, but the bigger opportunity is being able to set up local businesses in Africa to make and produce locally manufactured products. This would involve setting up new companies or investing in existing smaller companies and helping them scale up and grow faster. Rosa Whitaker, the CEO and president of the Whitaker Group in Washington, D.C., who was the first ever assistant U.S. trade representative for Africa in the administrations of Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, has said that there is much synergy between Africa and African American business because the region is growing in precisely the areas where African American firms are competitive. In 2013, African American firms grossed more than $21.8 billion in the industrial services sector in the United States, a $2 billion increase. The industrial services sector in Africa is the fastest growing in the world. On the other hand, I also believe that African governments can do a lot more to attract and engage African Americans, and they should do so now. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and that's my view.
Magnus,